Here we go for one of the most eagerly anticipated finals of this weekend. Listen to the noise for Josh Kerr. He's a real showman. Trouble is, there's 11 other world-class men who will try and deny him a golden moment on a track at which he's raced 50 or 60 times, he said. And the great thing about this distance, it attracts 10,000 metre runners, 1,500 metre runners. And they meet in the middle over 15 laps of intrigue, drama, and maybe glory. El St. Pierre denied Gudaf Sege the gold in the women's race. Will we see another European coming out on top? Well, speaking of coming out on top, Ehammer going well in this high jump competition. Oh yes, desperate to upgrade silver 2 years ago to gold. 195, vital points for him because one of his big rivals, smashed his PB in the shot put. Ehammer's got a new PB in the 60 hurdles and he might need that tomorrow morning because this could get tight towards the end. But he safely joins Ruth and at 195. No points conceded to at this stage. This is third attempt. Oh, how did that stay up? Doesn't matter, but it did. He's a big man and he gave it a big wobble. But the bar stayed up. And aspirations of closing the gap on Ehammer live to fight another height. That was extraordinary. 198. So he does move ahead of Ehammer. We'll keep you posted on that high jump competition. They've got 3 events to finish their competition tomorrow. Wow. The Olympic champion over 10,000 metres goes in this. The reigning world champion over 1,500 metres goes in this. And a multiple North American record holder over 1,500, the mile, indoors and out. We've got everything in this men's 3,000 metres. Meanwhile, McCartney, Olympic bronze medalist, back to form.
Bar at 475. No one's clear yet. Whoa, that was massive from McCartney. She had the world lead ever so briefly. Her and Molly Caudry have been swapping it over the last few weeks. We've had failures here at 475 from Morris, Caudry, Moser and Spabikova. I was kind of thinking, oh yeah, everyone's going to struggle with 475, but not Eliza McCartney. 20 centimetres over that. Eliza McCartney is a phenomenal athlete. She has jumped up to those sort of heights in her career, but perhaps not in the last couple of years. Brilliant to see her in the 480s, but that, if you put a laser on it, would put her up in the 490s. But for now, she takes pole position, the first woman over 475. Katie Moon passed at the previous height, so the world champion has got a chance to tie with McCartney in the lead.
12 men, 15 laps, at the end of which one of them will be a global champion. Olin Hacker, NCAA champion over 5,000 metres a couple of years ago. There's a racy, 4th in the Europeans. Adel Michal, European indoor champion a few years ago, not too far off the podium in Tokyo over the 1,500. He is a really good tactical racer, and the Spaniard can't be ruled out. Yared Ngus, North American record holder at 1,500 metres, indoors and out. He's one of the fastest men in the world this year. We move on to the line behind. Riva, national indoor champion for Italy. Ismail of Djibouti, 11th in the 5,000 last year. Selimon Barega, Olympic champion over 10,000 metres, defending champion over 3,000 indoors. Such is his range. He's also the 5th fastest in history. Anka Kam of Morocco, then to Genet Wale, a brilliant steeplechaser, world junior bronze back in 2016. He's the 2nd fastest man in the world this year over this distance. John Heyman's of Belgium. And now listen to the reception for Scotland's own Josh Kerr. One of the biggest cheers you'll hear over this 3-day festival Kerr is the reigning world champion over 1,500 metres. Can he beat the reigning Olympic champion over 10,000 metres, Borrega, the defending champion? This is full of intrigue, and it will be very, very dramatic. Well, a little bit of wobbling on the start line is the man from Djibouti, who was determined to get himself to the front. And Goose just looking to his left as Ishmael did try to find the inside line. Josh Kerr identifiable with the trademark shades, which he says helps to get him in the mindset that it's game time. And Goose and Hacker, Wale just making sure he's somewhere vaguely towards the middle or the front of the field. I love this distance indoors, Hannah. In what other context would you get a global champion over a mile, or effectively a mile, the metric mile, and a global champion over 6¼ miles meeting somewhere vaguely halfway over 15 laps indoors? This is such an intriguing race.
It really is, and Tefera has got fantastic, apologies, Borrega, Tefera's in the 15. Borrega has got such fantastic range, 57.50 for a half marathon in October, and all the way to 7.25 this season indoors. But I was talking to some of the people that work with the Ethiopian team, and they were saying the only way that they can beat Josh Kerr is to make it quick, and there goes Borrega. He cannot let this go slow for any longer when he's got the likes of Nagus and Kerr in here that have got a lightning quick sprint on them, and Borrega has stolen a march here. He's got a gap. The other athletes are going to have to try and close this.
This is really, really fascinating from Borrega. So often it's cat and mouse. I mentioned about Ishmael of Djibouti being determined to set the tone right from the gun. He's closed the gap on Borrega as the rest of the field recognise the danger. Borrega clearly feels, by adopting this tactic, that if it's close with a lap to go, he no longer feels perhaps that he's got the raw speed in his legs to be able to outkick Josh Kerr, who, let's not forget, outkicked the most consistent 1,500 metre performer last year, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Kerr was magnificent in that final in Budapest, and Borrega is determined that this is not going to be slow. But having gone to the front, they've bunched up behind him. Kerr is safely there, so too Michal. What he can't do is accelerate and then start to slow down again, because that will play into the hands of the 1,500 metre and the mile specialists like Goose and Josh Kerr.
Getnet Wale has been 4th in the World Championships over steeplechase and the Olympic Games, and he is the next man to have a go at getting this race going. Borrega went to the front. He did what you really don't want to do. He put some energy and went to the front, but he won't have done any damage to the field. I'm confused at the moment about Josh Kerr's tactics. He is really, really in shape this season. He's run a world record over 2 miles. Yes, he's got leg speed, but why, oh why, is the British man sitting so far back? He said he had a plan for this race. He's already written it down, and I'm not sure it would have involved being back in, 7th, 8th position, tucked on the rail, and getting at Wale with a gap over the field. He's not getting away, Wale. They will pull him back in, but Josh Kerr, this race will go by in the blink of an eye. I'd just love to see him a bit higher up.
And I'm curious as to what Selimon Borrega's doing, because he went to the front. It looked like, okay, this is great. I'm gonna put it out there and say, if you want to hang with me, do. But he has now allowed himself to go back to the middle of the field, and you may not have caught it there, but Josh Kerr just gave Borrega a shove in the back, and Borrega just gave Michal a shove in the back. It's getting a little bit tight at the back, and what none of the favourites want to do is take a tumble because of a clipped heel. This is really curious. Wale is the 4th fastest in history over this distance. He's coming up to Lap Yaourt of Afghanistan, so he will cause a little bit of traffic, and they'll have to go wide and go round him. And Josh Kerr gave him a real shove there and almost bumped into Riva, the Italian, on his outside. What's fascinating about this, Hannah, is that nobody seems to be able to tactically grab this by the scruff of the neck, and maybe the milers like Ngoose and Josh Kerr are quite happy if it's not lightning quick.
Naguse and Josh Kerr, they will be able to close fastest in my mind if they get to that last 600 metres. But if they miss the break, Josh Kerr is still very far back. Yared Naguse, the American, he's run 3:29. He's very, very good. He's closer for the first time. Josh Kerr moves wide. He's been pinned on the inside. He has been running the shortest line. And I think if Josh Kerr and Yared Naguse can get themselves further up the field now, they can hold on to anything that Barega and Wale throw at them. They're getting into the closing stages here. It's just 1 kilometre left to go in the men's 3,000. Barega back at the front, but he's still not really accelerated the pace.
When Barega stole a march on the field in Tokyo over 10,000 metres, he covered the last lap in 53.9. However, when he tried that last year at the World Championship, Joshua Cheptegei, the defending champion from Uganda, managed to hold him off. Maybe Barega hasn't quite got that extra half yard that he did 2 years ago when he became the Olympic champion. 4 laps to go in the final of the men's 3,000 metres. The crowd begin to roar because Great Britain's 1,500 metre world champion Josh Kerr is tracking the move of Genet Wale. Barega, the defending champion, is on the inside with Naguse on his shoulder. These are the main protagonists that everyone was expecting to be in the mix. And the longer this goes on, the likelier it is perhaps to play into the hands of the shorter specialists. Kerr in second, watch for Naguse as well on the outside. This is beginning to build towards a real burn-up, and it might favour the short-term specialists.
Josh Kerr made a very important move to try and protect that position, but he wasn't able to hold off Barega, and suddenly he finds himself in 3rd place and he's pinned back on the inside. Positioning is going to be so important in this last 400 metres.
Listen to the noise of the crowd. 2 laps to go in the final of the men's 3,000 metres. Hacker's running wide on the outside. Mashal is trying to get in the mix as well. Now Barega makes his strike. The Olympic champion over 10,000 metres watching the big screen at the end of the stadium. Kerr is trying to get himself in pole position in lane 2. It's absolutely deafening. It's the Olympic champion over 10,000 metres against the world champion over 1,500. Kerr is the local hero. Barega is the established star. And listen to the noise. Kerr is being driven round the bend by 5,000 Brits. They're on their feet. It's a standing ovation for the outstanding performance. The world champion over 1,500 takes the indoor crown over 3,000 metres. He's all about confidence. He's all about belief. And he has torn his way through a truly world-class field. And nobody here will ever forget the night they saw Kerr, Scotland's Braveheart, delivers in style on his home patch. He said he would win. He didn't tell us how, but he didn't need to. Wow. That was one of the most blistering finishes to a 3,000 metres you could ever wish to see. His path to gold in Paris is unfolding with another title. Kerr has beaten them all in Glasgow.
I love our sport, I love watching athletics, but I hated watching the last 600 metres of that. It was the positioning from Kerr. The only way that I could keep my faith was that he was so within himself that he was not worried about being so far back, about being pinned on the inside. And the change of pace as he came into the bell was just perfection from Josh Kerr, and he blew the field apart. There are such class in that field. You said it, Rob. The Olympic 10,000 metre runner was fighting with him as they came through the bell. But Barega, he needed to make that race faster. It needed to be harder if he was going to hold off that lightning quick finish from Kerr. And in fact, Yared Naguse picking up his first global medal as well for the United States. The 1,500 metre specialist found his legs in the closing stages and nudged ahead of Barega as well.
Well, I think the longer that race went on, the more they were playing into Josh Kerr's hands. He's got his tactics written in his phone for the Olympic final over 1,500 meters in the summer. A lot can happen between now and then, but how impressive was that? Didn't show any signs of pressure, didn't show any signs of doubt, and in the end, he had time to celebrate and savor the moment. Kerr is the champion, and in what style?